I don't normally talk about the times I end up doing music making since, well, let's face it, compared to some of my friends, I ain't no expert. Sure, I try to go hard at some points, but I really don't draw the beats that hard. It's mainly like dropping a pillow compared to some of my other friends. That said, I want to delve deep into my history when it comes to making music. I pretty much got inspired by the Musicshake part in Doodeltones' video, Doodle is Cringe. The title will make sense once you watch the whole thing. While I have got into my art history 9,999 times, I haven't really gotten to my history when it comes to music making that much. I mean, granted, it didn't really kick off until like late 2016, but there were moments where I made music beforehand. They range from okay to awful. However, I can't really bring myself to ignore them, so let's go back in time, shall we? 2011 was the year where my sister got into this band. She was pretty much a metalhead around this point because she's into playing the guitar and she listened to like a lot of metal. Like not just regular metal, there's also death metal in that mix as well. Hell, during the Skype days, there was this joke where every time I try to talk about anime such as Revolutionary Girl Utena, Dejicared, and Azumanga Daioh, you would hear metal from the other side of the room because everyone is practicing a song. Now you're probably asking, why is this relevant? Well, fellow viewer, my sister used to have this run program on the family computer called Guitar Pro. It's basically a music writer program, basically. I'm not too sure if she actually paid for the program or if she pirated it. I really would not be surprised if it was the latter, given the fact that we used to use this one pirating program called Kazoo. And if you remember that program, congratulations, you're old as me. Back on point, either way, the program was on the computer. While my sister was out and about with her friends at the time, 2011 Jessie wanted to test out the program. So Jessie made a song that had surprisingly passable notes, saved the MIDI, used one of those websites that are basically MIDI to MP3 converters, and saved the song as the same title as my Tumblr, Is This on Fantasy Rose? It's a cute 23-second song, and really that's par for the course with 2011 Jessie. She can only make small but cute songs. Though really it's not that much, and actually I remember another song that I've made and actually remember singing to. The song is titled Box for Sale. Sadly, I don't have the MP3 for it anymore, but I remember the lyrics, and to sing it, the song goes like this. I had a box for sale, I had a box for sale. Everybody, I just had a box for sale, I had a box for sale. It was another cute and short song with a slightly worse execution, from what I can remember. I mean, Jesse's singing skills weren't even that good back in 2011. One thing to note is that I remember sharing this to some of the friends I had around that point, and I remember they found it entertaining. Sometime in 2012, after I got my own laptop again after the first laptop disaster, I used Audacity to record myself singing or making music. It would have been fine if I hadn't had a crappy-ass microphone around this point. Majority of the music was just me singing though, so nothing really to cover from that regard. Well, other than the fact that I was pretty much trash at singing around that point, but that's neither here or there. For now. However, there are some special mentions for two notable moments when using Audacity for music. One music I've made is making a trippy-ass song with my voice, so it was just me singing, in a way. The idea was there, I guess. But what sets it down that I kind of thought it would be a good idea to have it as a fan theme for a character from Homestuck, which is a webcomic I have a complicated history with. And like I said, it was a theme for a character, but it was like a character that I was liking around that point, but later despised because of a certain moment, but again, that's neither here or there. Another moment that I want to bring up is the time I actually played the piano and made and recorded a song called Compassionate of the Heart. Despite the fact of how poorly executed the song was, and the audio quality being complete and utter ass, I think it was pretty much the starting point of making emotional music. And really, I can't bring myself to hate this song. Despite the poor execution, the idea was there. At some point in between 2012 and 2013, I was thinking up the lyrics for this one song called Convoluted Madness. And if you know me since the 2014 days, you'll know that that's a lyric for this one song called Bittersweet Serene. During some point, I have thought of the lyrics for this song for like the longest time, since like when I was still in high school. But then executed in Convoluted Madness without the lyrics, and Bittersweet Serene with the lyrics. And how I made those songs are quite, oof. I am going to confess some sins I have made around this point. You see, I have pirated this one program called WittySoft, which is basically a software version of one of those MP3 to MIDI websites. And at that time, I was better at playing the piano than I was making music on the computer, which is fucking rich nowadays. With Convoluted Madness and Bittersweet Serene, I recorded myself playing the piano and convert that recording into a MIDI. And boy howdy, those MIDIs were a disaster. Stopping the history lesson for a moment, I kinda wanna take my time to apologize to Tenji Hanka when he initially remixed Bittersweet Serene back in 2014. I'm pretty sure going through that MIDI must have been pure hell to go through. There were other songs that I've made when I flip-flop between the Complicated Method and switching to Anvil Studio, which is another songwriter program, which, in my personal opinion, it was not as fun as Guitar Pro. I'm just gonna say that right now. And other than Extra Relation, I don't think about those songs that I made around that point because they're pretty much F-tier garbage. Specifically shutting out that one theme I made for the podcast I was part of that was never used, and looking back, I am thankful for the fact that it was never used. I did use it for Penalty All About though, so I think I might have clowned myself in that area. However, we are not at the end of our journey just yet, as we are about to enter into the trying out Musicshake years for 2015 and 2016. So before then, I just want to bring up one thing. For Sour Candyville Donuts, I did record myself singing by making acapella, so there's something with that, at least. Going back to the main topic of this part of the history, for those not in the know, Musicshake is basically a website that lets you make music using presets. To make it in the Jessie simple type of wording, it's basically the doll maker of music making. It did have a Windows client, but that shut down and users were forced to use the Flash version, which I'm pretty sure the creators of the website shot themselves in the foot and basically killed off the fun. How am I supposed to make Magical Boys School now? Anyways, joking aside, I did got curious about Musicshake since Shrivet used it for Magical Girls School. And despite some gripes I had with it, one being absolutely stupid, but that's neither here or there, I did have fun with Musicshake. Sadly though, given the fact that Musicshake has been buggy as fuck lately, and it's basically become surrenderware at this point. I only have 3 songs that I could share. The ending for Maruko's Adventures, Monaya's theme, and the theme for Makoko and her Tamio. 2 of which were for fanimes and 1 was actually used. All are available to listen to though, so yeah. At some point around late 2016, I decided to go for LMMS, since it was the one music program I heard about that was free to download. However, I gone back and forth of using that program while also making MIDIs on Anvil Studio. I remember that the only reason why I did that was because of the fact that at the time, LMMS didn't export MIDIs, which is something that I've waited for a long time. Yes, I have been that long time of a user of the program. I was kind of okay with the program. I did this lazily made mashup called Rosetown is So Fun, which is a mashup of Rosetown from Super Mario RPG and Cooking is So Fun from Azumanga Daioh. Another thing that's worth noting is that I made the Caraflops tribute theme, which bits of it I kind of recreated the main melody of the song Night Trap from the video game. Well, Night Trap. That's a whole rabbit hole of why that is that I'm not gonna get into at the moment because Jessie likes to be obscure with her things. I like how I've been talking about myself in third person. And from that point, I made more and more music. Not a whole lot though, because the switch between Anvil Studio and LMMS was a major pain in the ass. That said, at some point, a friend of mine told me that I could just give them the LMMS file if they want to remix a song that I've made. And that's what led me to the switch of the program full-time and saying goodbye to Anvil Studio. For now, I needed help with it for a later thing, but that's neither here or there. And believe me, this was still before LMMS had the MIDI export. I was still a scrub at making music, but I will say that I have gotten better over time. And the fact that I made like an entire OST for a series of mine is quite an accomplishment. Granted, for some songs, I did reuse aspects I used for other songs, mainly taking FZ98, a song that I was used for Fanime Zone, and turning it into SGTWS98. But you know what? It's probably for the best that I reused those songs because now they're recognizable to people who have seen 7 Guidances to Wishful Safety. So yeah, that's basically my long history of my music making career, as you would like to call it. I was and still am a scrub when it comes to making music, not gonna lie. However, that don't mean that I haven't gotten better, because I have. I have improved since 2011, which were the days when I fooled around with my sister's Guitar Pro program. Now here I am, using LMMS. And with all that said, I hope you find this history interesting. Or at the very least entertaining with me just going bonkers. And with that said, this is Chiba Jessie of YouTube signing out.